My apologies for the switched orientation of the room. My shirt just wouldn't look right if it was any other way. As you can clearly see, if I just do this, backwards. If I do this, right way. I'll keep it like this from now on to avoid any more confusion. Thanks. Hey guys, Mac here. Thanks for coming back. If it's your first time, I implore you to go check out the back catalog so you know what you're in for here. But if you're a regular viewer, thanks for coming back. As you know, I'm in the midst of my Oscars 2020 extravaganza. But due to some viewer requests, I'm going to do a little segue today and talk a little bit about Star Wars, if you couldn't tell by the shirt. Specifically, the new sequel trilogy, that is episodes 7, 8, and 9. I will be talking in depth about the Rise of Skywalker. So if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, there are going to be lots of spoilers here. So if you have any interest in avoiding spoilers for the Rise of Skywalker, you should go now. But before we get started, I have to do my usual. Please like, share, subscribe, tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. They probably get some enjoyment out of it. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I have some new reactions up there, actually kind of about some new TV shows I'm watching. Very exciting TV shows. So go check out my Twitter. And with that being said, let's get going. Without getting too much in depth, let me just give you a brief history of Star Wars as it pertains to me. I was born in 1978. The original Star Wars, A New Hope, came out in 1977. At this point in time, meaning a long time ago, see what I did there? We didn't have VCRs that were prevalent in homes. So when movies were popular, they were re-released in the theater numerous times. So when Star Wars was re-released in the theater in 1979, my mom and my uncle took me to see it. And yes, I was only 1 year old. And it turns out I had just had a massive dinner. Supposedly, if I remember it correctly, it was like pasta. And when the trench scene started in the theater, I threw up everywhere. I don't remember that. But I'll tell you, man, my mom and my uncle sure do. From that point forward, I was all in when it came to Star Wars. It helped that I have an older brother who got all the toys, which means I got to play with all the toys. Empire Strikes Back came out. I know I was also taken to the theater to see that. Don't remember that one either. However, when Return of the Jedi came out, I clearly remember going to the theater to see Return of the Jedi. I don't remember the experience itself, but I remember going to see it. As home video expanded, we got all the Star Wars movies, rewatched them over and over and over. I just became a huge fan, playing with the toys, just being involved with the pop culture phenomena. We get to around, I believe it was 1997, where George Lucas has decided to re-release the original trilogy with updated special effects and so on and so forth, and did all that as well. In fact, my friends and I did like the earliest versions of what we would now call a marathon. We went and saw all three in a row, and I clearly remember once we got to Return of the Jedi, my friend Jeff screamed once the speeder bike scene happened because he had had enough of movies. It was literally speeder bikes, and he was like, "Ah!" right in the middle of the theater. It was pretty awesome. Then we hit 1999. Which was the year The Phantom Menace was released, and this was huge. And of course, this was also before pre-sales when it came to tickets. So like I had to drive out to this new multiplex that opened up that we were going to go see it in. I had to buy, I think, 12 tickets at the box office, come back home, then lead a caravan out to this place. And yeah, man, it was a big deal. And it was that time where we tried to convince ourselves that Phantom Menace was a great movie. It's not. Then Attack of the Clones comes out in 2002. No matter how soured we were when it came to The Phantom Menace, we still went and saw Attack of the Clones. We're like, come on, this is the Clone Wars. How bad could it be? Answer, worse. Then 2005 comes, Revenge of the Sith. This is where we see Obi-Wan and Anakin fight. And we know this is like, one of the most anticipated things that Star Wars fans have been waiting for to see on screen. And it sucks worse than the other two. That's my personal opinion, but I hate that movie. So we run into 2012. Disney says they're buying Lucasfilm and they are going to make new Star Wars movies. Although I shouldn't be excited, gosh darn it, I'm excited! And that brings us to 2015, December of 2015 specifically, when The Force Awakens, Episode 7, is released to the public. Let's start there and let's talk a little bit about this. All right, first thing, I was very excited to see that the director of this film was J.J. Abrams. He was responsible for rebooting Star Trek to the big screen in 2009 with awesome results. Love that movie. He was also the architect of one of my favorite television shows ever, and that would be Alias. Bet you thought I was going to say Lost. So knowing that J.J. Abrams was behind the camera was very exciting. And then they started releasing the cast, and we have new members, and then they're like, oh, Harrison Ford's going to come back. Oh, Carrie Fisher's going to come back. Anthony Daniels is coming. This is awesome stuff, so of course I'm excited. The movie gets released and is criticized for rehashing a lot of what happened in Episode 4 when it came to story elements. That is not wrong, but what still came out of it was a very enjoyable Star Wars movie that felt like an old school Star Wars movie. Yes, it had that CGI element, but it didn't look like a flat out cartoon like the prequels look like. Was it full of fan service? Yes, but that fan service won me over. I love seeing Han Solo and Chewbacca back on the Millennium Falcon. It's just, for someone that has grown up with it and been so involved, it was just so great to see them back. And then when Carrie Fisher comes up and you learn about these new characters, you learn that Kylo Ren is actually Ben Solo and he was trained by Luke Skywalker. There's just a lot of cool little story elements that I really liked. Then we got a new big bad in the form of Supreme Leader Snoke. We have the mystery behind Rey's lineage. What is it? So there's a lot of unanswered questions as we finish up The Force Awakens. And it ends on a great shot with Rey holding out the lightsaber to Luke Skywalker. They finally found this cool spinny shot, really neat stuff. And then, boom, we'll see you in 2 years. Then December 2017, The Last Jedi Episode 8 releases under the direction of Rian Johnson, who had directed one of my favorite science fiction movies, Looper. He also wrote and directed this movie, so I was like, wow, this is going to be something neat. It gets released to critical raves. Naturally, being the fan I am, got to see it on the night before opening night, which I do the sneak previews like the Thursday kind of thing. And I really don't like it. And I still don't like it. The central story is boring. In addition to abandoning story threads, we also abandoned some great characters. Finn, who was set up to be such a great character in Episode 7, now goes on this pointless mission with another pointless character. And then this Rose, by the way. And then Rose inexplicably tries to sacrifice herself at the end of the movie. It's just... One of the only redeeming qualities that comes out of The Last Jedi is the rapport between Luke Skywalker and Rey, and how he reluctantly trains her to become a Jedi, and Luke's eventual demise. I thought was really neat, and but that's it. The Last Jedi was a huge disappointment for me, and it's a very divisive film. I know half the fans love it, half the fans hate it. I am in the hate category. So let's talk about Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. It was supposed to be directed by Colin Trevorrow, who at this point was most known for directing Jurassic World. Throughout his time on Jurassic World and before he started work on Star Wars Episode 9, he did a movie called The Book of Henry, which is widely regarded as one of the worst movies of the past decade. I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. But it was enough for Kathleen Kennedy, who is now the president of Lucasfilm, to say, maybe this is not the right guy to helm Star Wars Episode 9. So Colin Trevorrow was removed from the project. Brought on J.J. Abrams! Woo! JJ's coming back. So what did I think of episode 9? The Rise of Skywalker. This is what I've been telling everybody if they ask me. I sum it up pretty succinctly. It's fine. Obviously, I have stronger feelings than that, but it's fine. I wasn't angry at it. I wasn't thrilled. I wasn't blown away by anything in the movie. I wasn't bored, but it's got a lot of problems. My biggest issue is that this felt like 2 movies crammed into one. It was about 2.5 hours. It should have been 5 hours. It should have been 2 movies. You know, who cares about the Trilogy moniker? Get that out of there. Make 2 movies. It's fine. We don't care. We're Star Wars fans. We'll go see anything. But there was so much going on, and it was so hectic. It was so convoluted. And it was convoluted without actually having a good story. It really boiled down to get this thing and then go here. Now get this thing and go here. And now we have this thing to help us get to this place. And we're going to go here. It was literally like the plot of the Da Vinci Code, cut and pasted into Star Wars. The return of Emperor Palpatine, as noble as it was to bring back like the best baddie of Star Wars history, just felt shoved in and rushed. The opening crawl, and this actually happened, started in the theater, and the first words on the opening crawl were, "The dead speak," and I audibly went, oh boy. It says that Palpatine broadcast a message across the galaxy of his return and how he's going to take the galaxy over. Wouldn't it have been cool to hear that? And yes, I know they broadcast it in Fortnite, but I'm not playing Fortnite to listen to it, ever. The revelation that Rey was Palpatine's granddaughter felt forced, no pun intended. I did not agree with the look of Palpatine. Instead of looking like he did when he died, he kind of looked like a Deadite from the Evil Dead movies. How did he come back? Some explanation would have been really cool. Like last I saw, I got dropped down a pit, foof, and then poof. So they got him out of that, I guess? I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of questions left unanswered, and I don't like that. There were some cool new characters. I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but there ended up being a bunch of people that they met that were also like Finn, stormtroopers brought into the First Order from birth and then forced to be stormtroopers and then got out. What a cool story element to incorporate in there. I wonder what, how they got where they were and how they decided to defect and what made them decide to leave. But they don't talk about it. There's another great character that played by Kerry Russell, who has a cool past with Poe. There was some really cool dynamic there, and there's a really neat design character, and seemed like a really interesting past. Like, oh, cool, this rapport with Poe. What would they get up to in the past? What is their relationship? They don't talk about it because we just don't have time. And I know that they were trying to retcon Episode 8, and trust me, they were letting you know the entire time. They're like throwing story elements out left and right. They're like, Rose pops up and like, hey, you should come on this mission with us. Nah, General Leia needs me to do this. Okay, see ya. Another thing I disliked. The movie had no stakes. C-3PO goes to get his memory wiped. And it's going to be the end of C-3PO. Nah, they just... Oh, R2-D2 had a backup of his memory, so he's back. That would have been a perfect end. This is the last movie in the Skywalker saga. We can kill more people off than Leia and Kylo Ren, okay? Chewbacca gets captured, gets taken away in a transport ship. Kylo Ren and Rey are fighting over that transport ship, and as they're doing it, Rey shoots out Force lightning and blows the ship up. Chewbacca is dead! No, he's not. Maybe if Chewbacca died, that would have given Rey a really good reason to just give up on the Force altogether, and then made that conversation between her and Force Ghost Luke way more impactful. So JJ and his crew had a lot on their plate, and I think they did the best they could. But in the end, it just kind of felt very rushed, and I almost want to say incomplete because there was just so much more I wanted to know. Now, was there stuff I liked? Absolutely. First off, the movie looks gorgeous. The special effects were second to none. They were great. The score, the last Star Wars score written by the great John Williams, that's a little rough, you know? A little choked up about that one, but the score is fantastic. The performances aren't bad. Like, everybody really does their best to commit. I know it's fan service, but it was great seeing Billy D. Williams back as Lando Calrissian. It was great to see C-3PO get a more expanded role. I do think the best part about the movie was Adam Driver as Kylo Ren. I didn't really want redemption for him going into the movie, but seeing how it all came to play, how he got distracted in that lightsaber duel on the ocean moon of Endor, I guess that's what it was, by Leia, which was enough. That was Leia's last hurrah, and she dies. And then it was enough for him to get distracted and for Rey to come in and stab him. Then Rey force heals him. He gets a sense of redemption that's completed by seeing his father again, which, totally cool to see Harrison Ford back. Not gonna lie, didn't expect it. And then Ben's redemption from that point forward was very cool. The kiss, though, wasn't a fan. Like I said, I'm not angry. It's just, I wanted a better ending. You know, I've been waiting for this. Millions upon millions of Star Wars fans have been waiting for this. It was fine. It was not a masterpiece. All right? It was fine. It wasn't a disaster like the prequels or The Last Jedi. It was fine. So I will stand by that. I look forward to seeing it again. I actually did want to see it again in the theaters. I didn't get a chance. But I do look forward to seeing it again, and I will be watching it again because, as I said on a previous video, we are Star Wars fans. We will watch anything that you throw at us. No matter how much we dislike it, we will watch it again. No matter how much I dislike The Last Jedi. Did I buy it on digital? Yeah, I did. My last little footnote before wrapping up. The Mandalorian on Disney Plus has definitely renewed my faith in what Star Wars can do. Excellent show. I highly recommend you check it out. So, do you agree with my feelings on The Rise of Skywalker? Do you think it was just fine, or do you disagree? Do you think it was awesome? It was a masterpiece? Or do you think it was horrible? What do you think about the sequel trilogy, episodes 7, 8, and 9, all together? Are you a fan of these? Are you a super fan of these? Seriously, guys, you can put any comments you want about Star Wars in here because I'll read them and love every minute of them because I just love reading and talking about Star Wars as much as anything, to be honest. All right, that brings me to the end of my Star Wars rant. Thanks for sticking around. Next video, we'll be continuing the Oscar extravaganza. We're going to be moving on to supporting actor and supporting actress. Some interesting choices in those roles and some really clear front runners. So we'll talk about those in the next video. But until then, don't forget, like, share, subscribe, click the bell so you get all the new videos when they come up on my channel. Follow me on Twitter. And that being said, this is Mac saying I am